Let's stay with the issue of the local government elections because the Forum for Service Delivery is calling for the IEC to withdraw its court application for the postponement of the polls. The organisation has been admitted as an intervening party to oppose the IEC's bid to have those polls postponed. For more on this, then, let's speak to the president for the Forum for Service Delivery, Mbahare, who's joining us there live this afternoon. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for your time. So the basis for your opposition to the postponement of the local government elections is one that you say would lead to a constitutional crisis. How do you think that would happen?
Okay, thank you, and thank you to the viewers at home. Let me start by appreciating our legal team, Ranto Munama and Associate, and our advocate in Dwandwe. So as Forum for Service Delivery, we will put it before court. I think around 4 o'clock we'll be in. We'll put it before court to say IEC is actually trying to hide behind Constitutional Court. And again, Constitutional Court cannot work on speculation. We don't know how February the COVID will behave like. And another point is that IEC failed to go to Parliament because they're reporting to Parliament. So this will cause a crisis because of if we allow this thing, another president somewhere in the future will seek for his term to be extended, citing the impossibilities.
But the reality of this situation, of course, is that the COVID-19 pandemic is not something that the political parties or the IEC could have foreseen. Are you, as the Forum for Service Delivery, at least sympathetic towards the IEC on that basis?
No, we cannot be sympathetic to IEC. Because even if you can go through their papers to the court, there's no plan. IEC was supposed to give us a plan to say on level 1 or level 5 or whatever level, this is what we can do. So they are still saying we have to draft a plan. So they want ConCourt to hide their complacency. The question was from March up until today, we've got more than 2 years living within pandemic. The reality is this pandemic won't go away now. So we need to start living, within the behavior of the variant and all that. So we don't agree with IEC.
Mr. Kekana, as things stand, the local government elections are set for about October this year. That's per the proclamation that's out if the IEC is not granted this postponement. The report by the retired former Deputy Chief Justice Dikgang Moseneke had said that the polls should be held between then October and February of next year at the latest. How much would actually be lost? Who would really be disadvantaged if there was a 2-3 month wait to going to the elections?
That 3 month wait, it's outside the parameters or the provision of the Constitution. That is what we are saying. To say we must operate. We knew as early as 2016 that there will be election. We knew as early as March during the outbreak that there will be elections. But the IEC went to sleep. They just woke up now during after Mr. Ramaphosa made an informal proclamation. What was IEC doing from March? Last year we had a lot of by-elections, but there was no Moseneke commission appointed before the by-elections. So appointing Moseneke, it was just a cover-up by the IEC.
The other issue, though, as things stand, back to the issue of the pandemic, is that we've only managed so far to get COVID-19 vaccines in the arms of about 10% of the population, right? When you look at the number of infections, they're not really dropping significantly at the moment. You'll have eligible people in this country who are eligible to vote who say to you, well, given those conditions, they're just not willing to go stand in a queue to cast a vote, even if they feel strongly about a particular political party and service delivery issues. How would you convince them to take that chance come election day if it happens in October?
The reality is, for the past 20-something years, we had what we call voter apathy. People are no longer interested. The people coming to vote or registering to vote. Like currently now, we're sitting about 25 million people who are not interested to vote. And we need to respect their choice. We cannot force people to go and register to vote. So Zambia just they've held their election. And they were not electing a councillor. They were electing a president of the country. So if countries like Zambia and other Nigeria and Liberia, they've managed to hold their elections within COVID. We saw we are not different. There's nothing special about South Africa. We must follow what the Constitution tells us. Well, the question that IEC doesn't answer is that February, what if the situation is worse? We are on level 5. What is going to happen?
So your concern is about going into uncharted terrain. I want to stay with the IEC's arguments today in court because Wim Trengove said that the issue at the moment is not that the elections would be impossible in October. The issue, he says, they wouldn't be able to meet the test of being free, fair and safe. Should we ever in our democracy compromise any of those 3 issues, and to what extent?
There's no clear definition. What is free and fair elections? It is not written anywhere, that definition. IEC was supposed, its work is not to determine whether elections are free and fair. It's parliament. IEC is supposed to run elections.
But it is supposed to run a free and fair election process.
People who are aggrieved will come and before the court with facts. Now we are operating on speculations, not facts. Why we did not have parties complaining during the by-elections? Not one party has complained. Not one party has come to court. Not one community has been protesting about elections won't be free and fair.
On scale, though, a by-election and a national local government election are slightly different just on size alone, but I don't want us to dwell too much on that. I want to talk about alternatives should the elections go ahead. I know you had spoken at some point this year about possibly looking into e-voting, for example, drive-through manners of voting. Would that not disadvantage people in rural and poorer communities?
Okay, in terms of Section 40 of Electoral Act, and in terms of Section 80 of Electoral Act, IEC is being empowered to solicit voting, a mobile voting station to go and do door-to-door or street voting, to go to that community. We can have our elections over 3 days. We can still introduce e-voting. There's a lot of methods that we can do in terms of remedying the situation. So IEC, they have never introduced anything of that nature. They want to operate as in the situation is still the same.
Mbahare Gekana, President of the Forum for Service Delivery. Good to speak to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the viewers at home.
Much more news.